Well, thank you so much for staying with us. You're going to be thrilled you did, because joining us in studio, see, I'm building this up, aren't I? Father Michael White and Tom Corcoran. Well, you know what? You guys do a series for us that people love.
Oh, that's great.
You've been on a lot. You're going to be on our Sunday Mass this week, too, which is a wonderful thing. So we appreciate everything you guys have done for us.
Thank you.
In the past and in the future.
Yeah.
Well, you've had a busy year at Nativity Parish. You've done so much. We've kind of followed you with Skype along the way, with interviews. Tell the people what you guys been up to.
Well, we completed a new church building that we're thrilled about.
That's all. And moved in. That might be the harder part.
Moving in is the harder part, actually. Just getting used to it. You know, it's really funny. The first weekend that everybody's in church, everybody has their pew at church.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah.
I got mine.
The first Sunday, nobody had a pew.
Oh.
Everybody was sort of like wondering, where do I sit? Where am I going to sit in this new space? But it's been fun.
So you tell me about that whole process, though, to build a new building. Isn't easy. Tom's looking at me with this look. Yeah. I mean, how was all that? Was that difficult, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of look back and enjoy it, but when there's doubt about whether it's going to happen and you know you want it to happen, the funding and the working with the county and all these other things that come up in trying to work your way through, it's stressful. But then now you see the fruit of all those efforts. It was years of effort that we put in. It began as a dream, and now you see it in reality. That's very fulfilling.
Yeah. That idea of the dream, it really comes to me like you've really lived rebuilt, right? And so you had that opportunity to dream and to imagine what your community would look like. So how did that process come about?
Well, when we started out on a very deliberate discipleship path, building disciples, it was fun to see more people coming to church. But after the church was filled, we got to a point where, you know, the shoe was determining the size of the foot. We couldn't grow anymore. We had to really stop talking about evangelization because there was no place for people to go.
That's a good problem to have.
It was a good problem to have. But that really motivated us to start talking seriously about building.
So what's the secret, though? So you always hear from so many people, oh, there's not as many parishioners now, and yet here you are talking about a shoe that's too small, so we need a bigger shoe. You need a shoebox at this point. What's the secret of growth? How did you attract these people?
I mean, we really say it comes down to three things. First of all, is just you need to be thinking about church from the unchurched person's perspective. And we need to be designing, then second, be designing weekend experiences or weekend masses with those people in mind. And that's just simply hospitality, you know, parking for us, parking ministers, greeters at the door, host ministers. But third, then challenging the people in the pews to say, hey, we exist not for us, but for the world. And to create a culture in which says we are going to welcome people to come back. If the church is going to grow, we're going to attract people that aren't going to church. It's kind of obvious, but sometimes we forget that.
It's obvious, and it's really, really simple, but it's not easy.
Right. Right. So you welcome Timonium Tim. So everybody who's followed your books, you know, knows about Timonium Tim and attracting him to the community. So what's he finding there now in the new building?
Well, I think when Tim, the quintessential unchurched person in our community, approaches our new church building, it doesn't look like a church.
Right.
And some people have criticized us for that. But we deliberately want to be a kind of setting that he's going to feel comfortable stepping into, like a mall or an airport or a hotel. Once he gets inside, there's a transition that starts happening. We're bringing him closer into the mystery that is the wonderful Eucharistic faith that we celebrate together every Sunday.
So is that part of the success, too? Because sometimes you can get new people and you can get them in, but you have to keep them.
Yeah.
So how do you keep them?
Yeah.
Well, I think going back to a key way is the message or the homily that people are hearing. People, again, Tim doesn't value the Eucharist necessarily, but he does value relevant teaching for his life and how do I live a better life? And you begin opening God's Word and just saying this can help you live a better life, the more successful life you want to live, and making that connection. I think that's one of the other ways. The music is certainly important too, that it shapes a whole experience that when people leave, how they feel about Mass and what they've experienced, the music adds to that. And again, as we mentioned earlier, just the hospitality. If in all those things are coming together, we would say music, message, and ministers, we're shaping a great experience Tim wants to come back to.
Yeah, and a super community. I mean, we follow you, as Jay mentioned earlier, all year long, and during the summer parish mission photos, we got that beautiful video of the kids at the farm and everything. So does social media play a role in all of that? And certainly your team has just been responsive of being on message altogether.
Yeah, I think we would say, first of all, it begins with the website. You are your website, Father Michael has said, so it begins and ends there, and that's a great opportunity. And we've been learning more, too, that we need to be telling our story back to our own parish. And probably this is happening in a lot of parishes. You're doing great things, but people just don't know it. They don't know what you're doing, both people in the pews and maybe the outside community. So sharing that story, first of all, with your website, and then other media, social media, you can take advantage of that as well.
Yeah.
Now this is, oh, I'm sorry.
I was
Mark.
going to say the website is beautiful. I was mentioning it to Alexis because that's kind of her field. And your website with the candle burning now, particularly during Advent, is just spectacular.
Now this is a tough question, in a sense, because it's a critical question. What mistake are some of us in other parishes making that we're not making that connection? What would you say is that? How do we do it? What is the mistake?
Well, I think we just have to go back to why we do what we do. Go back to we want to make disciples and go back to what Jesus was about, seeking and saving the lost. And I think we sometimes get distracted away from that basic core message, and it's just coming back to the basics and fundamentals. Vince Lombardi would say to the football team, this is a football. John Wooden at UCLA would teach his students, his players, how to tie their shoes. Mm-hmm. I think just coming back to that, why do we exist? We exist to seek and save the lost like Jesus and to help people grow in their faith.
We get very distracted.
Sure.
And Christmas is a great time for parishes to kind of come back and major on the majors.
Yeah. Well, we're running out of time. Where can people learn more about Nativity Parish and things that are going on?
Go to our website, and we'll be broadcasting our Christmas Eve Mass right here on Catholic TV. Christmas
Woohoo!
Eve
Year
evening.
3 or year 4?
And we have some, Bonnie has
Oh,
a
yeah,
couple
we've
gifts
got
here
some
for you
great-
guys.
Yeah.
Merry
Pass them on.
Christmas.
Great, Merry Christmas,
We
and
might
we
have
brought
lots.
gifts too.
Oh my
awesome.
gosh, this is great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on This Is the Day as we receive these beautiful gifts. And know that all of you, every single one of you, are in our thoughts and in our prayers. And we'll see you Friday right here on This Is the Day.